Hello everyone, we are continuing a very important lesson, that is reproduction in animals. Students, before knowing about today's topic, you have to know what we done in last class. Students, last class we got about definition for reproduction, modes of reproduction, sexual reproduction, male reproductive organ, and also female reproductive organ. Students, today you have to know about some informations about fertilization and also development of embryo. Both are very important. Fertilization. What is fertilization? So that is very simple. Fertilization is nothing but that is the process of fusion of male and female gametes. Process of fusion of male and female gametes to form a zygote. Students, I told you fusion of male gamete with female gamete. What are gametes? So gametes are the reproductive cells. So male gamete is there and also female gamete also there. Both are involving in the reproduction. So male gamete, that is what we called as sperm. Male gamete, that is sperm. So female gamete, that is egg or ova. The process of fusion of male and female gametes to form a zygote, so that is what we called as fertilization. See, this is already we got about structure of the particular sperm, that is male gamete, and also we got structure of female gamete, that is egg. So this is egg, so these are sperms. Students, so in females already we got about menstrual cycle, that only one egg will produce in a month actually in females. But in case of males, so males produces millions of sperm, but only one sperm reaches the particular egg and also the take part in fertilization actually. So this is egg, this one is egg. So and also many sperms are there, millions of sperms are there, and also only one sperm will reach the particular egg. This is egg, only one egg penetrate into the particular female gamete, that is what we called as egg. So that is what we called as fertilization. So after the particular sperm entering into the egg, finally, so that egg is that egg becomes fertilized egg. Fertilized egg, and also this is what we called as zygote. Usually students, sperm, that is male gamete, that contains only 23 chromosomes. Female gamete, that is ova or egg, that contains 23 chromosomes. So after fertilization, 23 from the particular sperm, 23 from the particular egg. Finally, so that the resulting egg, that is what we called as fertilized egg, and also that is what we called as zygote. That zygote that contains 46 chromosomes. That condition, that is what we called as diploid. Diploid is nothing but that contains two sets of chromosomes or 46 chromosomes, 23 from males, 23 from females. Understanding, that is what we called as fertilization. Students, similarly, the fertilized egg later after fertilization, finally that egg then develops into a new individual. That fertilized egg then develops into a new individual, since the sperm from the father fuses with the egg from the mother. Already I told you. The new individual inherits from or some characters from the father and some from the mother. Students, already told you, so that this is what we called as sperm, that is male gamete. So this is what we called as female gamete, that is egg. After fertilization, so finally that egg becomes fertilized egg. later the fertilized egg develops into a new individual, and also that new individual that contains both the characteristics from both females and also male. So this is what we called as fertilization, that is very, very important. Students, next coming to development of embryo. After fertilization, some cell division takes place and also that converted into embryo like that. So after fertilization, formation of embryo takes place like that. After formation of embryo, fetus. Finally, so that particular mother will give birth to the particular young one. So coming to development of embryo, that is very, very important and also very simple. Students, after fertilization, the fertilized egg divides to form a group of cells. Fertilized egg divides to form a group of cells, that is what we called as embryo. See, already I explained about female reproductive organ. So this is the structure of female reproductive organ. So this part, that is what we called as ovary, that is female gonad. Usually female gonad that produce female gamete, that is what we called as egg. These are what we called as egg. So that ovary that releases what? That egg. Later that egg traveling into the very important part. So that part, that is what we called as oviduct or fallopian tube. So in fallopian tube, usually fertilization takes place. That sperm entering into the egg. Finally that egg becomes fertilized egg. Later that that fertilized egg divides to form a group of cell, that is what we called as embryo like that. So after fertilization, after division of the particular fertilized egg, finally that form a group of cell, that is what we called as embryo. Later that embryo that attaches to that very important structure, so that is what we called as uterus. This part, that is what we called as uterus. The embryo then attaches to the wall of the uterus and then develops the body parts like hands, legs, head, eyes, ears, some other parts of the particular child like that. So that is what we called as fetus. This is what we called as fetus. In fetus, that contains that the development of hands, legs, body parts, heads, eyes, ears, some other parts like that. Particularly, this particular fetus develops in the particular wall of that uterus of the particular female reproductive organ. Later, when the development of the fetus is complete, the mother gives birth to the baby. Mother gives birth to the particular baby like that. So this is fetus. The development of body parts takes place. After complete development of that body parts, finally, so that particular mother will give birth to the particular young ones like that. New baby. Usually animals which give birth to their young ones are called viviparous. Viviparous means the particular some of the animals are there. Those animals give birth directly to the particular young ones. Those animals are commonly called as viviparous or viviparous animals. Almost all animals give birth to the particular young ones directly, except egg-laying mammals are there. Egg-laying animals are there. They are echidna and platypus. Except echidna and platypus, almost all animals give birth to the particular young ones directly. Those animals are commonly called as viviparous animals. For example, humans, dog, cow, cat, etc. So some of the animals are there. So those animals that which lay eggs are called oviparous animals, egg-laying animals like that. So those animals not give birth to the particular young ones directly. So the particular animals are involving in the laying the particular eggs. Those animals are commonly called as oviparous animals. For example, frog, fish, butterfly, lizards and all. So viviparous animals are they, oviparous are they. Viviparous animals means animals give birth to the particular young ones directly. Oviparous means ovi is nothing but that is egg. So animals which lay eggs, those animals are commonly called as oviparous animals. Almost all mammals are viviparous except echidna and platypus, egg-laying mammals or egg-laying animals. That is echidna and platypus mammals. So these are all about fertilization and also development of embryo. Students, I will show you one very important and also very interesting video about fertilization and also development of embryo. I hope all of you enjoy the particular videos.
Fertilization is the epic story of a single sperm facing incredible odds to unite with an egg and form a new human life. It is the story of all of us. During sexual intercourse, about 300 million sperm enter the vagina. Soon afterward, millions of them will either flow out of the vagina or die in its acidic environment. However, many survive because of the protective elements provided in the fluid surrounding them. Next, the sperm must pass through the cervix, an opening into the uterus. Usually, it remains tightly closed, but here the cervix is open for a few days while the woman ovulates. The sperm swim through the cervical mucus, which is thinned to a more watery consistency for easier passage. Once inside the cervix, the sperm continues swimming toward the uterus, though millions will die trying to make it through the mucus. Some sperm remain behind, caught in the folds of the cervix, but they may later continue the journey as a backup to the first group. Inside the uterus, muscular uterine contractions assist the sperm on their journey toward the egg. However, resident cells from the woman's immune system, mistaking the sperm for foreign invaders, destroy thousands more. Next, half the sperm head for the empty fallopian tube, while the other half swim toward the tube containing the unfertilized egg. Now, only a few thousand remain. Inside the fallopian tube, tiny cilia push the egg toward the uterus. To continue, the sperm must surge against this motion to reach the egg. Some sperm get trapped in the cilia and die. During this part of the journey, chemicals in the reproductive tract cause the membranes covering the heads of the sperm to change. As a result, the sperm become hyperactive, swimming harder and faster toward their destination. At long last, the sperm reach the egg. Only a few dozen of the original 300 million sperm remain. The egg is covered with a layer of cells called the corona radiata. The sperm must push through this layer to reach the outer layer of the egg, the zona pellucida. When sperm reach the zona pellucida, they attach to specialized sperm receptors on the surface, which triggers their acrosomes to release digestive enzymes, enabling the sperm to burrow into the layer. Inside the zona pellucida is a narrow, fluid-filled space just outside the egg cell membrane. The first sperm to make contact will fertilize the egg. After a perilous journey and against incredible odds, a single sperm attaches to the egg cell membrane. Within a few minutes, their outer membranes fuse and the egg pulls the sperm inside. This event causes changes in the egg membrane that prevent other sperm from attaching to it. Next, the egg releases chemicals that push other sperm away from the egg and create an impenetrable fertilization membrane. As the reaction spreads outward, the zona pellucida hardens, trapping any sperm unlucky enough to be caught inside. Outside the egg, sperm are no longer able to attach to the zona pellucida. Meanwhile, inside the egg, the tightly packed male genetic material spreads out. A new membrane forms around the genetic material, creating the male pronucleus. Inside, the genetic material reforms into 23 chromosomes. The female genetic material, awakened by the fusion of the sperm with the egg, finishes dividing, resulting in the female pronucleus, which also contains 23 chromosomes. As the male and female pronuclei form, spiderweb-like threads, called microtubules, pull them toward each other. The two sets of chromosomes join together, completing the process of fertilization. At this moment, a unique genetic code arises, instantly determining gender, hair color, eye color, and hundreds of other characteristics. This new single cell, the zygote, is the beginning of a new human being. And now the cilia in the fallopian tube gently sweep the zygote toward the uterus, where he or she will implant in the rich uterine lining, growing and maturing for the next 9 months until ready for birth.
The journey of life begins with a single cell, but later it is no longer alone. It divides repeatedly to form a mass of many cells together. And in this video, we are going to learn about this beautiful process that helps us grow to what we are from a single cell. Yes, we will be talking about how the embryo develops. Do we have a scientific name for this process of embryo development? Absolutely, it's called the process of embryogenesis. In simplest words, embryogenesis is the process that follows fertilization. Where exactly does the fertilization take place in humans? Yes, it takes place in the fallopian tubes of the female reproductive system. However, before reaching the uterus, the embryo undergoes a series of divisions that help in its growth and development. Let us focus on one of the fallopian tubes where the egg cell has got fertilized. Now this fertilized egg cell will divide to form 2 cells followed by 4 and so on. This results in the formation of a ball-like structure. This ball contains many cells inside it. Do you know what this ball of cells is referred to as? When the cell number in it is 16, then it is referred to as the morula. This further divides to form a structure called the blastula. So will it have double the number of cells in it? Blastula is just a stage where the cells arrange themselves such that they form a hollow mass structure. In fact, the cells align themselves to the ends and leave a cavity within, which gets filled with the fluid. Now the next stage of development will be the blastocyst. It is the stage where the embryo will have cells that have got differentiated and will even differentiate further. Now, what exactly is this process of differentiation? Let me explain. Have you ever thought that if we all started our lives with a single cell, then where do all these different types of cells in our body come from? Yes, I know it's from the single cell that was present at the beginning. But how is this possible? The answer to this is the differentiation process. As the name suggests, it is the process in which one cell gets differentiated from the other cells in its vicinity. As a result, we get a whole new variety of cells from these differentiated ones after successive divisions. So coming back to the blastocyst stage, it is now a mass containing differentiated cells. As it grows further, the body of the embryo begins to develop. But for its proper growth and development, don't you think the embryo will require nutrition? Of course, yes. And where will it derive the necessary nutrition from? You may say the mother's body. That's correct, yes. But how will that be possible when the blastocyst is still moving inside the reproductive tract? It is not connected to the point from where it can derive nutrition. Hence, the blastocyst needs to be connected to that particular location. This is where the most important stage of implantation comes into the picture. Can we guess what could it be from the name itself? Yes, it is the step where the blastocyst now attaches itself inside the mother's body at one fixed position. It implants itself there. And where will this position be? Of course, inside the uterus. That is the place where the baby grows, right? So the embryo now attaches itself in the uterus. Few of the main reasons for attachment is deriving nutrition, giving away wastes, and exchanging gases. This is served through this barrier that we can see here. This barrier is an organ called the placenta. So can we say that the placenta connects the baby with its mother? Absolutely. Now the embryo is all set to grow into a baby. The stage where the organs of the baby's body starts developing such that they can be identified is called as the fetal stage. And the embryo can now be called a fetus. The fetus grows in the uterus after taking the required amount of time, and when the growth is completed, the child is all set to enter this beautiful world. This is how an embryogenesis takes place in most of the animals. But wait a second. We have seen that a hen lays eggs and the chicks emerge out from these eggs. It means they do not grow in the body of their mother. Yes, development of the embryo takes place in two different ways. The parameter to categorize these types is the location of the embryo development. So how do we categorize the two types? It's simple. The first type is as we have seen in the case of humans. The fetus grows inside the mother's body. It results in the mother giving rise to the young one directly. Such a type is called the viviparity, and these organisms will be called as? Yes, they are called as viviparous organisms. On the other hand, the case of hen is an example of the oviparity. And the organisms exhibiting it are called the oviparous organisms. Well, this was about the process of the embryogenesis, the development of the embryos. Do you remember external fertilization? Yes, the fertilization process which occurs outside the female's body. Fertilization in frogs is an example of this. However, we still don't know the process by which the tiny embryos develop into individual frogs. To understand this interesting process, you need to watch our next video.
Okay students, maybe all of you enjoyed that videos about fertilization and also development of embryo. Students, today we got about detailed explanation about fertilization and also how actually fertilization takes place like that, and also we got about how the development of embryo takes place like that. So students, I will give you only one homework question for you. That is, you have to differentiate between oviparous and viviparous. You have to differentiate between oviparous and viviparous. You have to write examples also. Continue in the next class. Thank you so much.